A Nashville-based band is bringing jazz to Morton. That's just one of the things you want to hear about to start your day for Friday, May 10th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, Peoria city leaders are opposing proposed state legislation that would invalidate the city's nuisance abatement ordinance. WCBU's Joe Deacon reports.
Bills in both General Assembly chambers would ban local governments from enacting crime-free housing regulations that encourage landlords to penalize tenants for alleged criminal activity. City Manager Patrick Urick says Peoria is one of more than 230 municipalities in Illinois with this type of ordinance. He says having it repealed would undermine the city's home rule authority and take away a tool used to keep neighborhoods safe.
I think that there are folks in the state that don't want to see evictions of anyone, anytime, and there are folks in the state that want to see no regulation. And when the two come together, I think it's really bad for neighborhoods.
The bills are sponsored by several Chicago area Democrats, and the Illinois Association of Realtors is among the proponents. A statement on the Illinois Realtors website says they've sought to abolish crime-free housing ordinances for 20 years, alleging the policies promote discrimination and punish crime victims. But Peoria Mayor Rita Ali says the bills are, quote, bad legislation, and 2nd District Council member Chuck Graham called the proposals unconscionable.
We work our tails off to make safe neighborhoods and to get to these properties that are totally malignant, and then they want to take that away from us.
Today is the deadline for a third reading of the Senate bill. The House bill remains before the Rules Committee. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Joe Deacon.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. Area public housing agencies are getting an infusion of federal cash to modernize and develop properties. And a regifted porcelain plate might just be the most historically significant decorative art piece ever bestowed upon the Peoria Riverfront Museum. Find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. Youth Music Illinois and Nashville-based band The Brazilianaires are joining forces for a jazzy collaboration taking place May 18th at the Bertha Frank Performing Arts Center in Morton. On this week's episode of Out and About, YMI's executive director Lydia Riley and Brazilianaires guitarist and vocalist Rico Wayne Johnson joined Dr. May Gilliland Wright in the studio to chat about the partnership and the compositions featured in the concert. For more information and tickets, head to youthmusicillinois.org.
Lydia, first tell us a little bit more about Youth Music Illinois. First of all, the name, because when I was a part of it, it was Central Illinois Youth Symphony, and all that you do.
Sure thing. So it started out as the Central Illinois Youth Symphony. It was a sort of showcase, I guess, of the top students out of the District 150 orchestras out of the high school. Now we have 2 levels of full orchestra, 2 levels of string ensembles, 2 levels of jazz orchestra, a percussion ensemble, and a Suzuki School of Music. So we've got music education for everybody at all levels. And today specifically, we're talking about the jazz ensembles.
That's impressive. That's so much. Now, Rico, before we dive into the collaboration with Youth Music Illinois, I want to tell our listeners who might not know about the Brazilianaires, very few of them who might not, a little bit more about your band. You are Nashville-based now, but you weren't always.
That's true. Yeah, actually, Peoria is where our roots are. We started just a little Latin jazz combo, if you will, in 2013. And we started playing at, there was a little lounge downtown at the time called the Black Rabbit. And we were the house band there. Peoria is actually my hometown, so it's really dear to my heart. Just love performing there. I love the folks there.
And tell us about the genre of music that you play.
Yeah, so we started out primarily Brazilian-based, doing a lot of sambas and classic bossa novas. We kind of morphed into a sort of a Latin fusion band, so we also will do other Latin American style like cumbias and Spanish rhythms, but I think Brazilian grooves are really still where our heart is.
So how did this collaboration come about between Youth Music Illinois and the Brazilianaires?
So our jazz director, Jeff Arbisi, shout out to Jeff, came up to me about a year ago with crazy idea that we were going to bring in the Brazilianaires to collaborate with them. Jeff Arbisi has been kind of the driving factor behind this collaboration.
As I understand, the concert will feature all original arrangements of Brazilianaires music. music. Rico, I know this isn't your first time on this stage with a lot of musicians, but what about this particular performance excites you?
The music director, Jeff Arbisi, sent me some recordings of the kids, and we were floored. We were like, he's doing such a good job with them. And he's taking our arrangements and sort of adapting them to the kids, and it's just going to be fun.
Lydia, I imagine this is a great experience for the students. It's not every day that you get to work with musicians like Rico.
It's true, and the kids have been working really, really hard, and to Rico's point, Jeff has been doing an amazing job with them. He arranged/rearranged, reworked some of these to feature, and I'm reading off of my phone here, contrabass, clarinet, oboe, bassoon, instruments that you wouldn't always find, and rearranging them to kind of fit the ensemble that we have and everybody who was interested in performing. And so it's going to be a really great educational experience for them and just kind of all around a good time.
Yeah, and I think as we finish, up here, Rico, you mentioned that you were blown away by the professionalism of these students. So when folks hear about a student concert, they might not necessarily think, this is for me unless you know the student. But tell us why this is different.
Well, first of all, I want to say this. It's wonderful seeing young people playing instruments because, in the music industry, there's just a lot of overproduced DJ type stuff on the, West Coast and East Coast. And to see young people actually playing instruments is just fantastic.
You've been listening to Highlights of Out and About, a weekly production of Arts Partners of Central Illinois and WCBU. To catch the full conversation, visit WCBU.org or subscribe to the podcast.
Support for arts and culture coverage on WCBU comes from PNC Financial Services. PNC is committed to supporting local art and culture events in the communities they serve.
Before we let you go, this weekend, the Philharmonic Chorale at ICC presents its spring concert, A Festival of Song, at 2:30 p.m. in the ICC Performing Arts Center on Sunday. Tickets are $10. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, or Spotify.